Star Trek Day is Paramount's annual Star Trek-themed holiday they use to promote their active shows and announce upcoming news. And like classic Doctor Who, it was over 2 hours long and mostly filler. So I'm here to recap all the major announcements and teases so you don't have to go through the most modern Star Trek event to date. Whatever happened to Star Trek's famous orchestras. After the first announcement of the stream that Queen Elizabeth II had died, not really sure why that was brought up here, or how I learned about it from this event of all things, but moving on. The cast of Star Trek Picard came on to talk about Season 3. Patrick Stewart started by stressing that this is not a reunion, as everybody keeps saying, but a, quote, essential gathering to do what that crew does best, a job of rescue, safety, and hospitality. Jeri Ryan then talked about how amazing it was to see 7 of 9 develop from where she started on Voyager to where she is now in Picard, where she will deal with the internal struggle of feeling like she doesn't fit in with Starfleet and how she behaves with that. Personally, I think this sounds exactly like what she did on all of Voyager, but I guess that's character progression. And finally, Raffi's actor Michelle announces this series will be dealing with the criminal underbelly of the Star Trek worlds. And I do really have to give them credit here. Last year, I complained that ending the day with a dark and depressing Picard really killed all the hype the previous panels had generated. So this year, they got it out all at the beginning. Anyways, Patrick Stewart then confirmed they will be back in space, and a new trailer was shown, ending with a February 16th release date. Next up, the Discovery panel took us behind the scenes of the Season 5 production. Well, interesting, they surprisingly didn't make any announcements, unless it was during one of the many times the stream cut out, other than showing this one image of Burnham's new role in the upcoming Mad Max sequel. Yes, that is a joke. After that, the Star Trek Online panel, I know, I was surprised too, announced Will Wheaton as the Terran Emperor, and in the preceding hour of filler, it was announced the Ready Room would return on September 22nd with an episode featuring Terry Newton. At least it felt like an hour. Returning to an actual main event, the Lower Decks cast opened with a scene of an upcoming episode featuring what appeared to be the future version of our Lower Deckers commanding their own Sovereign class. Tony then teased an upcoming episode centered around an unnamed fringe character and a sequel to the amazing Season 1 movie episode. And suddenly, a lot about that teased scene makes a lot more sense. Finally, Noelle Wells teased an episode where Tindy, quote, faces her heritage. Prodigy then carried the torch with a scene of the next set of episodes that ended with an October 27th release date, the same day Lower Decks' 3rd season ends. They didn't actually say how many episodes this batch would be, but according to One Little Spaceman on Twitter, they announced last year this would be the 10 remaining episodes of Season 1. And sure, that's not exactly a primary source, but it matches Memory Alpha, and it's a hell of a lot better than what the actual event did, so just accept it. The release scene also showed Okana reprising his single episode TNG role, confirming once and for all that that interview he gave years ago, saying just as much, wasn't actually him misspeaking. Who would have thunk? The event then took a small detour from the usual affairs to honor the memory of Nichelle Nichols, who sadly passed away on July 30th of this year, and it was a very heartfelt and lovely tribute to such a wonderful and impactful woman. After the tribute, it was announced the official tie-in podcast, the Pod Directive, would be returning on February 23rd. And then, Paramount greatly piqued my interest by announcing Star Trek Con Ceti Alpha 5. Well, rumored in one form or another for years now. This will be an audio drama adaptation of 3 one-hour scripts written by Wrath of Khan director Nicholas Meyer that will be expanded into a series of currently unknown length about Khan's time stranded on Ceti Alpha 5. While such an expansion of scripts isn't always the best foundation to start with, as an avid fan of the Big Finish Doctor Who audio dramas, the idea of an official Star Trek story in the audio medium is very interesting. I know most people will likely bounce off an audio-only Star Trek production, and this will probably never be more than a niche entry to the universe, but being 174 stories into Big Finish's monthly adventures Doctor Who range, I know the potential the audio format has to deliver amazing stories and concepts that the visual medium never could. So I, for one, am going to keep a close eye on the first series to make us have to change the phrase on-screen equals canon, canon equals on-screen. And finally, the show that is either a solid 4, 7, or 10 out of 10, depending on who you ask, came on to discuss its upcoming 2nd season. Okay, maybe Strange New Worlds could be an 8 out of 10 if you're a 7 who doesn't think about the plots too hard. But either way, we gotta look at an Ortega's-centric scene showing off her desire to go out there and enjoy away missions, yet being stuck on the ship is the Enterprise's best helmsperson. A surprisingly generic 2023 release date was announced, giving us a mysterious 7-week gap between Prodigy and Picard's next seasons. The entire event ended with the announcement that Carol Kane will be joining the cast for Season 2, which was great, as it gave me as much time as I needed to look up who Carol Kane was and see if I'd actually seen her in anything. And with that, Star Trek Day 2022 drew to a close. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time! The entire event ended with an announcement that Carol Kane... that's just the end of the sentence that I wrote in the script. Yeah,
end of sentence.
I forgot to actually write the announcement.